UK Home Office Sponsor License Application Interview, Consolidated Guide if you are applying for a UK Home Office Sponsor license. For example, under the skilled worker route, the Home Office may conduct an interview or compliance visit, either in person or virtually, to assess your business's suitability. The following guide covers typical interview questions, a preparation checklist, and a mock interview template. 1. Typical interview questions. Business legitimacy and operations. You may be asked to describe what your business does, how many employees you currently have, and to explain your company's structure, including owners, directors, and staff hierarchy. The Home Office may ask whether you have business premises and request a description or a copy of your lease agreement. You should be prepared to explain why you need to hire foreign workers instead of UK-based staff. Recruitment practices. Expect questions about your recruitment process, including how you advertise roles, such as through job boards or agencies. You may be asked if you have conducted a resident labour market test in the past and whether you understand what constitutes a genuine vacancy. Understanding of sponsor duties. You will need to explain your responsibilities as a sponsor license holder and describe the steps you will take to monitor your sponsored workers. The Home Office may ask how you will report absences, changes in address, or employment changes, how quickly you must report changes, and where you will store sponsored workers' documentation, such as right-to-work evidence, contracts, and visa copies. Compliance and record keeping. You should be able to describe the HR systems you use, whether manual or software-based, and how you track attendance and absences. Be prepared to explain what records you will keep for each sponsored worker and how you ensure sponsored roles meet the correct salary and skill levels. Key personnel roles. You may be asked to identify your authorizing officer and explain their role, as well as to name your key contact and level 1 user. The Home Office may inquire about the experience or training these individuals have regarding immigration compliance. Future sponsorship plans. You should be ready to state how many migrant workers you intend to sponsor in the next 12 months and whether you already have someone in mind to sponsor, including details of their role. You may be asked to provide a job description and explain how it meets the relevant occupation code. Genuineness and financial health. The Home Office may request financial statements or business bank details, as well as employment contracts, pay slips, or timesheets for current staff. You should be able to explain why the Home Office should trust your organization to sponsor foreign workers responsibly. Compliance history and sector-specific questions. You may be asked whether you or any key personnel have previously held a sponsor license and if there were any compliance issues. The Home Office may also ask if you or any key personnel have been subject to civil penalties or criminal convictions related to immigration or employment law. For regulated sectors, you may be asked if you are registered with the appropriate regulatory body, such as the CQC or Ofsted, and to provide evidence of compliance. 2. Sponsor license interview preparation checklist. Business and operations. Gather your company registration documents, such as your company's house certificate. Prepare evidence of your business premises, for example, a lease or utility bills. Have an organizational chart or staff hierarchy available, along with your most recent financial accounts. Be ready to show proof of trading activity, such as invoices, contracts, or business bank statements. Key personnel and HR systems. Prepare job descriptions for all key personnel, including the authorizing officer, key contact, and level 1 user. Have your right to work check policy and procedure available. Be ready to demonstrate your HR system, whether manual or software-based, and show how you record absences and holidays. Provide samples of your absence monitoring system or timesheets, as well as template employment contracts and offer letters. Recruitment and sponsored workers. Have sample job advertisements or documentation of your recruitment process ready. Prepare details of planned roles for sponsorship, including detailed job descriptions, SOC, standard occupational classification, codes, and salary levels. Be able to provide evidence of why these roles cannot be filled locally. Sponsor duties and compliance. Have a sponsor duties manual or checklist available. Prepare your internal policies for monitoring visa expiry dates, reporting absences or changes, and maintaining contact details. Be ready to show an example of how you would report changes via the Sponsor Management System (SMS). 3. Mock Interview Template Section 1. Company background. You may be asked to give a brief overview of your business, state when the business was established, and how many employees you have. Be prepared to explain what prompted your decision to apply for a sponsor license. Section 2. Recruitment. Describe your current recruitment process and the efforts you have made to recruit UK resident workers. Be ready to discuss what roles you plan to sponsor and why. Section 3. Sponsor duties. Explain your responsibilities as a sponsor license holder. Describe how you ensure that sponsored workers comply with their visa conditions and what you would do if a worker fails to show up or resigns unexpectedly. Section 4. HR and record keeping. Describe how you track employee attendance, where employee records are stored, and who has access. Explain what documents you keep for each sponsored worker. Section 5. Key personnel. State the role of the authorizing officer and who is responsible for reporting changes in sponsored workers' circumstances. Confirm whether your key personnel are aware of their responsibilities under the sponsor license. Section 6. Future plans. State how many workers you intend to sponsor in the next 12 months and whether there are any current candidates for sponsorship. Be prepared to explain your contingency plan if your license is refused or revoked. 4. Summary of key interview topics, sample home office questions, business operations. Can you describe your business activities? What is your organizational structure? Can you provide evidence of your trading presence? HR and recruitment. How do you monitor employees' right to work? What systems do you have in place to track absences? How do you manage your recruitment processes? Sponsor duties. What are your reporting and record-keeping obligations as a sponsor license holder? How do you ensure you meet these obligations? Genuine vacancy. How do you ensure that the roles you wish to sponsor are genuine? How do you confirm that these roles meet the Home Office's criteria? Compliance history. Have you or any of your key personnel had any previous issues with immigration or employment law? Sector-specific compliance. If your business operates in a regulated sector, are you registered with the relevant regulatory body? Can you provide evidence of your compliance with sector-specific regulations? Tips for success. Be honest and consistent with your documents and responses. Ensure your HR systems are well documented and ready to demonstrate. Know the sponsor duties thoroughly, especially reporting and record-keeping requirements. For assistance, contact 10 Law Solicitors on 02477632323. Email advice@10law.co.uk.